It is hard. It is a journey. But then so is everything else you've been through, right? So why would you give up when you are at the very cusp of your book being published and other people reading it?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Unfiltered Voices, the podcast that is all about busting the myth that self-published is second-rate. I'm Kellie Nissen. I'm an author coach and a self-published author, and I'll be talking to authors, illustrators, and other self-published industry professionals about their choices, their journeys, and everything in between. So stick around. Makeda Yasenlul, welcome to Unfiltered Voices.
Thank you so much, Kellie. Thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. Just a little bit of information about Makeda for everybody listening. Makeda is a mother, a writer, and an entrepreneur. Her book, Bigger Than Divorce, came out of her lived experience helping women navigate a path that she has already walked. Makeda lives in Southern California, where she and her daughter love exploring libraries and bookstores. And I cannot think of anything else better than having that shared love of books
Yeah.
with your children. It's wonderful. So we'll go into the questions. You told me earlier that you believe in the power of books and writing to change lives, and you founded your high school's first newspaper, and at
Yes.
the age of 14 wrote a short African version of Harry Potter. Now, I know you said, oh, let's not talk about it, but I actually want to talk about it because it's something as, let's say, early authors, we often do. Like, if we really love a particular book, we might write a version where we can see ourselves in that book. And there's also, I don't know if you've seen it on social media, there's a sort of a, I don't know whether it's a hint or something going around at the moment where people are saying if you want to improve your writing, that you need to emulate or copy, not for publication, obviously, but for your own practice, to copy the writing of authors and books that you admire. So tell us a little bit about your version of Harry Potter that you wrote, but also, more importantly, what doing that actually helped you realize about your own writing.
Okay, thank you so much, Kelly. That's such an interesting question. So when I wrote it back in the day, I was 13, 14. I wasn't thinking, oh, let me copy this work or let me practice my writing, right? I had read, I don't remember which particular Harry Potter book, but I was really in love with the story, with just the magic of it, everything. I was just enamored. And I decided, hey, I can write a book. And I thought I was being creative. I wrote pages and pages, and then I showed it to my sister. She read it a little bit, and she said, "This is like Harry Potter, only the setting is in Africa." And I don't remember where exactly I said it. Probably home. And I was so embarrassed. I was mortified because, at 14, I was thinking I'm going to be so creative and come up with this unique thing that nobody has ever thought of, only for it to be, a copy paste of Harry Potter. So I just destroyed it. I just tore it up, and I'm like, thank God that nobody saw that because I was not trying to be a copycat. And I did not really have any realizations about writing. I just thought, oh my God, I am a fraud. I am not a creative. So that was that. Now looking back, I can see, oh, that was actually a good thing. It wasn't, necessarily bad that I was doing that. And especially, like you
Yeah,
said, all the copywork stuff that's coming up in recent times.
I think it probably showed you really early on that you enjoyed writing and that you loved
Yes.
telling story, even if it
Yes.
was a slightly different version. And we do that in schools. I don't
Definitely.
know about in California, but certainly in Australia, we'll ask children to do retellings or reimaginings of
Mm.
a favourite story,
Oh,
and you can learn style and technique doing that as well.
yeah.
So we'd say
Yeah.
that that was your start. And I tell you
Yeah.
what, even if you do write your own work, sometimes you do feel like a fraud. Anyway,
Yes. Oh,
that
yeah. For sure.
imposter syndrome. So
Yeah.
when I asked you for a catchphrase, which I do when I send out the questionnaire form, you wrote a go-getter with a mission. That just speaks so much about what you write and what you do. How do you think that that catchphrase relates to your book, Bigger Than Divorce? And obviously, you have a mission with that book.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I told you I'm a go-getter with a mission, I wanted to communicate that I want to have impact in this world. I don't want to just write for the sake of writing, but I wanted to have an actual measurable impact on the people who read the book. And that's really what this book was all about, because the idea was to help people, or women in particular, read it and then have lots of realization, advice from someone who has been where they are, and just impact them in a positive way. So that was my intent with it, and it is my mission. And not only with this book, I want to continue writing, but in subjects where people struggle the most, right? And not necessarily me. For example, one thing that I really want to see is a book about terminal diseases like cancer. A lot of people go through that, and in my community, it's fate is such an important part of our life. But then when it comes to books, we don't have any really. Um, and what a shame, right? I really want to change that. So that's what I mean, go getter. Like, I have a lot of
Mm.
ambition, but then it's ambition with an impact and purpose,
Yeah,
and it's almost like a higher meaning. So that
yeah,
was
yeah.
the idea behind.
Yeah, and I mean, we talk about this all the time when I'm, coaching. Who is the audience, and what do you want them to gain from
Right.
what you've written? And
Mhm.
for some people, it's just like, you know what, I just want them to laugh. I want them to enjoy. I want them to be entertained. But other authors, such as yourself, you want to create change or enable change as well,
Yes.
which, and you doing that through the written word and through story is probably one of the most impactful ways that you can do.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Can just while we're on that, can you just tell us a little bit more about Bigger Than Divorce?
Sure. So it's a self-help book.
Mm-hmm.
But it has a lot of storytelling as well. And so that was something I had to intentionally incorporate and think about, because it's very spiritual, it's
Mm,
faith-based. And I didn't want it to be so dry and preachy where, I'm telling women, do this, right? I just did not want them to feel preached at.
mm,
So there's a lot of storytelling. There's my own personal experience, and then there's like straight on teaching as well. And it's all about how to spiritually deal with the emotional aftermath of a divorce, dealing with
mm.
all the feelings, all the anger, on the grief, and all of that, with in tandem with our faith. So that's what Bigger Than Divorce is all about.
Mm. I like the title too. That just speaks volumes. This is not just
Yeah.
a memoir. This is going to have that impact. What is beyond that? Well, I think people who haven't experienced that don't really understand the full story.
Yes.
Yes, so
Yes.
you
Yeah.
you know you're there to give voice to people who are going through that, but also to open eyes, I think, aren't you? Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. And by the way, after we spoke just yesterday, no, Monday, I found out that I'm actually a finalist in this Muslim Book Awards thing that's done every year, with another couple of books. So it's three books that made it to the finals, which is amazing, right? A book about divorce making it to that level, it's
That
fantastic.
is
It's
so
yeah, it's
good.
opening eyes. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
congratulations. Well
thank
done.
you. Thank you.
It is
Yeah.
it is nice to just receive that sort of, acknowledgement,
Yeah.
isn't it? To know that,
Yes.
and it
Especially, yeah.
yeah, all the work that you've put in as
Yeah,
well is,
for sure.
is being recognized. So
Yeah.
we gain inspiration from our own experiences, whether they're personal experiences, as in like own voices, stories, or whether that's just something that you are particularly passionate about. So your inspiration is from your experiences plus your desire to help other people.
Yeah.
What would be, and you would have many areas of inspiration. But what is the most unexpected source of inspiration that you've found? Something that surprised you?
Something that surprised me. So because of the nature of the grief and the pain that I was in, I at first I wasn't sure that I could write a book, right? Even though that was something that was a big dream in me, but it was in a sort of way, like a distant. It would be nice if it happens, but it's not going to happen. You know what I mean? That really, it just felt impossible. I'll just put it that way. It felt impossible, like a very nice big dream that's really out of reality for me. So one inspiration when I was really mulling over the idea that came to me was very funny. A few years ago, a friend of mine had a government case, and she needed to submit the character letters. It's almost like recommendations, and she asked a few people in our friend circle to write it for her. And she didn't ask me, it was three other people. And all of them came to me and then asked me, hey, write the letter for me. I'm like, no. But they twisted my arm basically, and I had to write three different versions for all of them. I had to think, okay, how would you, how do you speak? Almost like now looking back, it's like ghostwriting, right? Looking at how they speak, what they would say. And then I remembered it when I was struggling with that feeling of kind of right, kind of not right. And this was years ago. And by the way, she got approved for the thing she was applying for. And so it it was an inspiration and also a validation. It felt like, okay, maybe they saw something in me that I wasn't seeing, right? Because they came to me, they practically forced me to do this, and I did it and turned out okay. So maybe I should give myself more credit and do this and see what happens. And that was one experience that stood out to me.
You had to get inside the head of the person that you were writing for, right? So,
Right. Which is
um,
harder, right? It's
it
even
is
harder than
it is
writing from your
difficult,
own.
yeah, because
Yeah.
you've got to actually understand not only how they would say things, but what they would think and that sort of
Yeah.
thing. Which, like you said, ghostwriting, yes, but also different perspectives and different character voices if you happen to be writing
Yeah.
fiction or memoir. That's just like another step of realization, and I can do
Yeah.
this. I'm
Yes.
good at this, and often other people see things in us that we don't see ourselves.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Yeah. Just, yep.
um, yeah, and I
And it
love that.
helps.
Yeah, as an
It's
inspiration story.
yeah, it's
Mm.
something like borrowed credibility, almost not credibility, borrowed self-belief, I guess. It helps
Yes.
until you get to that place of where you believe in yourself, you just borrow from other people and okay, if you see that in me, maybe you're right? And just use that.
Oh, I love that. When I do these interviews, there's always some little epiphany, something that somebody says that I'm like, oh, I wish I'd thought of that myself. So there's a lot to be said too for the power of a really well-written memoir and a self-help book as well. It's so much more than building credibility and retelling a part of your life. So for you, with Bigger Than Divorce, you turned one of your hardest life chapters into something that helps other women heal. When did you first realize that this story that you were writing wasn't just your story, but it was more of a roadmap and a guide for other women?
Yeah. So before I started to make it into a book, I would journal a lot. So
Mm,
as I was going through all the feelings of, the anger, the grief, all of that, I would research a lot. I would talk to people older than me. Any advice or anything I hear that made sense to me or that made me feel better, I would write it.
mm.
And I wasn't intending to write a book. It was just me processing my feelings. And when you write it, it helps you connect the dots, and it just changes a lot of the you feel better basically. So I was doing that. And how I realized, okay, this is something that can turn into a roadmap for other people was I was in a Facebook group for divorced women,
Mm.
and they would ask questions about stuff that I went through, say, a few months ago, sometimes almost verbatim. And I would read it, and it was just so mind blowing to me. And at the time, I think I was like 33, 34. And that was the first time when I realized I'm not such a unique snowflake, right? It was such a big realization for me to see oh my God, we have similar experiences. I'm not so unique that my thoughts are so unique and out there. I'm just like everybody else. And we
Mm.
all go through the same things. And it was so big for me. It was such a big epiphany to realize that. And that's when I decided, oh my God, this could actually be something that I can share and then help others with. So I would just comment and say, hey, I'm writing a book. Wait for it to come out, because if I start typing a comment, it's gonna be, it's not just Facebook comments, it's gonna be pages.
Yes,
So
yeah,
that.
exactly. So your whole book would be in those Facebook comments. You're very passionate about equality, particularly when it comes to women and to single mums. So, in terms of how authors, and particularly female authors, are recognised in the literary world, what do you feel that we could do to ensure equality?
I think the biggest thing, based on my experience, would be to realize women, especially moms, and I'm very passionate about moms especially, is to realize the other responsibilities that we have. We have kids to take care of, right? We have the home, the cooking, all of the other responsibilities. And so the way the literary world is set up needs to take that into consideration, right? We don't have 40 hours a week to dedicate to writing. I think a lot of people, even, us writers, women, buy into this mentality of the Hemingway image, right? Oh, you're gonna go off, or Jane Austen, whoever, into in some random cabin in the woods, and you have unlimited amount of time, and you're being a genius and brilliant, and that's not the reality for a lot of us. So, with the education that like book coaches teach, or even like the grants that come, all of that, taking
Mm,
the family side and the responsibilities into consideration, even the way we teach them, right? Telling them, okay, if you only have 10 minutes a day, that's still something. And, it's okay. You're still a writer. You don't have to have
mm,
a unlimited amount. So those types of teachings would be amazing. And even with retreats, for example,
mm,
moms, we need childcare, right? So have that option there. Make it family friendly. So things like that, just to
mm,
realize these people have other really big responsibilities that they can't just put aside. So it has to be together.
mm.
That's cool, I think.
Yeah, so it's about sort of just recognition, isn't it? And
Yeah.
just having people realize like every person's situation is different. Um, but for a lot of women, it is that extra layer of
Yeah.
difficulty. Whether or not you have somebody supportive around you, there is this female guilt and mother
Yes.
guilt,
Oh, that's
isn't there?
that
It's like,
too.
oh,
Yes.
I've got this time to myself. I've got these 2 days at this retreat. Oh, I actually really should be doing stuff with the kids.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
God,
so it
yes.
is
That's a
about
big one, actually.
changing attitudes of people in general, but also attitudes of the women themselves to
Yes.
say, you know what I'm doing is also valuable as
Yes. Very
well.
important.
Yeah.
That can be part of the education. Yeah.
Yes,
Very true.
absolutely. Um,
And you're
and
not selfish for it.
you chose to self-publish Bigger Than
Yes.
Divorce, is that right? Yes.
Yes.
Um, why did you choose that path, and how did that journey unfold for you? Because it is actually
Yeah.
quite different for a lot of people.
So when I decided to write and publish, from the very beginning, I had decided it would be self-published. The traditional publishing did not even enter my mind at all,
Mm,
because one, it's a very niche audience that I'm writing for, right? So if I was to go to a big five, their focus is very different. They want to sell books. I mean, I want to sell books too, for sure. But then my impact or my circle of influence is not going to be in the millions. So the chances of them accepting it is going to be very low. And then for sure there are Muslim publishers too. But then
mm,
to go through that process of doing a book proposal and then waiting for months to hear back, I wasn't going to do that, because I had already decided this needs to be published. And
mhm,
now I'm going to go around and ask people, hey, can you? It's like asking permission. That's how it felt. Like I ask, how much. anger I feel when I'm at work and I have to ask for permission to go
Yes.
for vacation. I'm not gonna do that for my book, right? That was my thing. I have said yes, and I'm gonna go ahead and do it. And that was it. It wasn't really a big. I didn't really ruminate on the idea. It was just a very quick decision for me.
Yeah, like a no-brainer. And I think that's part of the realization too, that for some people, most actually, I want to actually go out and say all people who self-publish, it is a choice that's made with considerable thought and very good reasons. As you said, niche market is hard, and you also have that very limited print run as well, whereas a book like yours isn't time bound. It's not this time next year it won't be relevant. It has
Right, it's
that
true.
long term relevance. Whereas, you get a book that's traditionally published, the majority of them only do one print run, and
Mm.
that's it. So if you want that longevity, sometimes you need to look at another route. That's what I wish people would understand about
Yeah,
self-published authors and choice
that's
and
such a
that
good
sort of
point.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's something that you would really love readers or critics or the industry in general to understand about authors who choose to self-publish?
We are brave. Very, it takes a lot of courage and bravery to go and do
Mm,
this by yourself, right? The whole process of writing and then publishing, it's an extra layer of bravery.
mm,
Just to write is, it's a whole big deal to decide, okay, my story matters, my book matters, my message matters, right? So that's one hurdle that we get over, and then you write it. And then now you're saying, I don't want anybody's seal of approval, really, right? And I'm
yeah.
gonna do this by myself. I'm going to figure out the process, and I'll go through the self-publishing. Oh, that's amazing. That's bravery. It takes guts to do that, and I wish people would get that. And I wish they wouldn't assume that just because we decided we can take control of the publication of this book, it's low quality. That's something I really
Mm,
hate. How people think, oh, because it's self-published, so it must be low quality. But
mm,
I mean, hopefully things are changing now because we it's such a shame that people think that way, and I wish they would
yeah.
get it. We
Yes.
really work hard to make them very quality, and the amount of errors I find in very big, traditionally published books, and I want to be petty and point it out sometimes, but I stop.
You and me both. That's like, and you feel petty, but it's also, you know what, don't make the assumption that because something's traditionally published, it's going to be better quality,
Yeah,
a better story. And you're
yeah.
absolutely right. Oh, I have many pet hates, but one of my big pet hates in this area is if you're talking about a book that has been self-published and you're just saying, oh, look, I read this great book. And one of the first questions is, oh, who published it? All right.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
then if you say, oh, look, it was self-published, instantly you see those shutters go down. And
Yes.
they're like, oh, no, it must be no good then. And,
Yeah.
I don't know about in the US, but in Australia, it is very difficult to get your book into bookshops. And there are an increasing number of wonderful independent booksellers
Yeah.
who support the local authors, self-published or not, which is fantastic.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
there are still a lot of them. If you go and you say, look, hey, I've got this book, I was just wondering if you would like to take it on consignment and blah, 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 and that sort of thing. And they're like, oh, it's self-published. Oh, no, without even looking at,
Right. That's the thing. Without even looking, like at least
yeah,
check and see. You know, check it out
yeah,
at least. Yeah.
yeah. So judge
That's
the book
something.
on the story inside,
Right.
not on the pathway that you used
Yeah. Don't
to publish
assume.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. They're making
Yeah.
assumptions,
Yeah,
from the
so and
get-go.
it's what, not every book is for everybody, and that's fine. But make
Yes.
a reasoned judgment at least.
Right.
Anyway, so just on that, there I know that there are a lot of people who they've got a story in them. They might have tried to get something traditionally published, and it is very difficult to, like, less than 1% of stories actually make it
Yep.
through, just because traditional publishers can't publish everything that they come across and
They're
love.
very busy.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
an expensive business as
Mm.
well. So there are a lot of people that go, self-publishing, it seems so hard, this, that, and the other. What advice would you give to aspiring writers or writers in general who are thinking about self-publishing, but maybe just like a little bit hesitant?
I would say, you've done hard things in life, so what's one more thing, right? And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is hard. It is a journey. But then so is everything else you've been through, right? So why would you give up when you are at the very cusp of your book being published? I think the very first hurdle is them thinking, it's boring or it's my story doesn't matter, all of that. But then I think we are so close to ourselves that it seems obvious to us, especially with nonfiction, that everybody else knows what we know. But that's not the case. Sometimes the very simple things we think everyone should know, or we just assume this is like 1 plus 1 is 2. Not everybody knows that. So first realize that, and then once you do and you think, okay, I guess I have something to say, and my message matters. Self-publishing is just one thing in the many difficult and many unique things you've done in your life. Yeah, and you
Yes.
you will figure it out. You're intelligent, especially now with the amount of resources that are out there.
Oh,
It's
yes.
not rocket science. It's not
No.
astrophysics. So you'll be fine.
No, there are a lot of resources out there and
Mm.
companies and individuals that you can get help from. My
Yes.
little tag onto that would be just go in with your eyes open, and
Yes.
because for every person, every company, every resource that is genuinely wanting to help you, there is somebody else there going, give me your money.
Yes.
Don't necessarily rush at the first little shiny object. Shop around. You're intelligent. You
Yeah.
can you can absolutely do this. You
Yeah.
um just it is hard to say, so have confidence in yourself, but I think that self-belief is
Yes.
so important. And I think too, surround yourself with other women, and I'll say women
Uh,
here because that's where you surround yourself with other women who think the same and who can
oh my God, yes.
boost you
Your
up.
community matters. Oh my God,
Oh,
yes.
100%. And a good
Yeah.
community is there to lift you, not to bring you down. So I want to go back to you and your daughter
Oh, okay.
there, and the fact that you are serial library card max outers. I used to do that. I remember back in the day when I actually had time to read. When I was a lot younger, I'd go to the library on Saturday morning because our local
Mm,
library when I was a kid was open
okay.
on Saturdays from I think 8 until 12, and then they were closed for the rest of the weekend. So I'd go first thing, I'd be banging down the door on Saturday morning.
Yeah.
We were only allowed to borrow 4 books. So
Okay.
I would borrow the 4 books, I would take them home, I would sit there and read, and then I would race back to the library at like 11:30, quarter to 12, and get 4 more. So I had something else for the rest of the weekend.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
And I'm like, oh man, I would love to go back to those days. So you and your daughter,
Wow.
do you have like a shared sort of reading ritual? Do you like the same books? Do you share books? I know me and my daughter, we have some similarities, but she's very much into dystopian. I'm like, yeah, no, life's too short to be reading something you don't enjoy. So what, you know, tell me about you and your daughter as
So
lovers of
she's
books.
very young. Yeah, she's young, so I pick the books. But if she sees something that looks bright and pink, and she goes off by the illustrations, because
Yes.
she loves the pictures. So we just
Yeah.
go together, and if she's there with me, it's gonna be dramatic. She's just running around and making her very loud selections. And usually she goes for the older kids. They have them by age, the
Mm.
preschools, and she's very, very young, very little still. She just
Yeah.
turned 6 a few months ago. But yeah, that's our ritual. We just go. If I am by myself, it's way easier because now I can think, okay, I want it to be educational. I have more time to pick
Yeah.
something that I think is more appropriate for her. But if we're
Yeah.
together, it's chaos, but it's nice. It's beautiful. They have a little play area where they cook for you. There's tomatoes and vegetables and stuff. And the books are right next to that. So
Yeah.
it's a little play
Ah,
session.
I love that you've got that shared sort of love of reading.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's something that you can just take anywhere, and it's
Yeah.
nice that you can develop that love of reading. We want our kids to read books that will develop them and help them grow and that sort of thing, but
Mm.
there's a little bit of fun in there as well. So
Yeah.
choosing the books based on the illustration, I used to do that. I would 100%, if I liked the cover of the book, I would buy it. I would borrow it.
You just
And
take it.
yeah,
Yeah.
so there was
I
some
guess
books
that's fun. You're right.
probably missed out on some books that were really good, but they didn't have a nice cover, so they didn't grab me.
You know
We are
what? We're young.
going back a little bit to that now with book covers. I've
Mm.
noticed recently have just gotten prettier, and there's all these embossed ones and
Oh my goodness, yes.
stunning
It's like
colors.
a science now. Yep. And
Yes,
I see
yes, yeah,
designers online. The book designers are wow. And then they
yes,
would post, yeah, I've seen a lot
yeah,
of them on LinkedIn.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think if you're self-publishing, getting somebody who knows what they're doing with the book cover, and a blurb on the back of the book and the
Yeah.
layout is so important. I think it's all part of
Yes.
that whole experience, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, Makeda, this has been lovely
Oh,
chatting with
thank
you.
you. You too.
And some just those little sparks of gold that you
I'm
talked
glad you
about.
think so.
Before we go, can you let people know where they can find you, where they can buy your book, and follow you on social media, that sort of thing?
Yeah, that's for sure. So if they enter my first name and last name, I'm everywhere. I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. I'm not that active, but I'm on IG and LinkedIn, and I have a website too. So it's my
Mm,
first name and last name together. Makeda Yasenlul. It's Makedayasenlul,
mhm.
and so the website is makedayasenlul.com, and LinkedIn is my name, and IG is my name as well. So they'll find
Yeah.
me that way.
Thank you so much.
Thank
I'm
you. Thank you for having me.